This is United Network News with Sunny Galt, Calen, Kimberly Gogan, and our field messengers from around the world. Here's today's real news.
The rapid decline in biodiversity is causing a lot of stress on ecosystems and economies around the world. Habitats are disappearing, and nearly 1 million species are at risk of extinction. This pressing issue was the focus of the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, or CBD COP16 meeting in Cali, Colombia, where leaders came together to find solutions.
The history of biodiversity efforts began with the convention signed at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in 1992. Originally, countries pledged to share biological resources more equitably. This led to the Nagoya Protocol, which became international law in 2014. The protocol requires researchers from countries in the UN Convention to have necessary permissions when using genetic material from other countries, and for companies to share profits from commercial products that arise from this work. However, the Nagoya Protocol only covered physical samples, but researchers now benefit from online genetic databases, reducing the need for physical specimens and bypassing international regulations.
There was a breakthrough moment in 2022 at the 15th Conference of the Parties of the CBD in Montreal, when the international community decided to create a multilateral mechanism for benefit sharing from digital sequence information, including an international fund. It also decided to set in motion 2 years of intense negotiations to create the conditions under which that multilateral mechanism would work, who would pay, under what circumstances, and how the money that they paid would eventually be redistributed to beneficiaries primarily in the global south. So during those 2 years, the CGIAR and the Alliance have been working hard to contribute to an evidentiary basis upon which negotiators can develop benefit-sharing mechanisms that respond to and support the ways in which digital sequence information is used in agricultural research and development. We've made the case that the evolution of digital sequence information and technologies to develop DSI have fundamentally changed the way in which genetic resources are used in agricultural research and development, and that an equitable response to those changes requires a certain approach to developing benefit-sharing mechanisms.
During the Cali negotiations, countries agreed on the creation of the Cali Fund, a new benefit-sharing mechanism for genetic resources. Companies using genetic resources, like those in the pharmaceutical and biotech sectors, should contribute 1% of their profits or 0.1% of their revenue to the fund. Half of the funds would support indigenous communities, including women and youth, through their governments, or direct payments to chosen institutions. Despite this progressive intent, enforcement is tricky, as it relies heavily on mutual trust among nations, raising concerns about potential biopiracy. Also, a new permanent advisory body for indigenous peoples was established, allowing them to provide input directly at future biodiversity conferences. The indigenous body will have 2 chairs, one elected by UN regional groups and the other by indigenous and local community representatives, with at least one from a developing country and considering gender balance. The role of people of African descent in biodiversity conservation and sustainable use was also recognized in the decision.
Indigenous delegations broke into cheers after Colombia's environment minister announced that diplomats from more than 190 countries reached an historic agreement at the UN Biodiversity Summit to give them a permanent voice on nature conservation decisions.
This is an unprecedented event in the history of multilateral agreements on the environment. The indigenous groups in the local communities of the world are connected through our knowledge systems on how to take care of life and biodiversity.
However, negotiations at the conference concluded before reaching an agreement on key issues, such as establishing a broader biodiversity fund for development. Despite 2 weeks of discussions, countries couldn't finalize how to track progress on the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, which was adopted nearly 2 years ago to halt and reverse nature loss by 2030. The plan was to address gaps in the monitoring process and decide on the reviews for 2026 and 2030 to ensure accountability. This pause in dialogue threatens the framework's mission. Developed countries are falling behind on their commitment to provide $20 billion annually in biodiversity financing by 2025, with contributions to the interim Global Biodiversity Framework Fund totaling only $407 million. Attempts to change subsidies harmful to nature aren't progressing well either.
Empty seats and exhausted delegations. After 12 days of vigorous debate with a record attendance, the COP16 Biodiversity Summit in Colombia was wrapped up despite some unfinished business. Among the 23 goals to be implemented, an agreement on financing policies to preserve nature by 2030 has yet to be reached, after Nordic countries opposed the request for the creation of a new fund for nature. The countries also failed to adopt a new framework for monitoring countries' progress on tackling biodiversity loss. All of these will need to be revisited at intersessional meetings next year.
It's clear there are still many hurdles to overcome in the fight to protect our planet's biodiversity. Despite some promising strategies being put on the table, it's going to take a collective and sincere effort from all parties involved to turn these plans into reality. Let's hope future negotiations can bridge gaps and move us closer to a world where nature thrives alongside human progress.
In New Zealand, Mark Quinn is leading a movement to form self-supporting groups that empower people to return decision-making back to the community. UNN Field Messenger Elsaby interviews Mark to find out more about his vision.
Hi, I am Elsaby, Field Messenger for UNN from New Plymouth, Taranaki, New Zealand. Today I would like to introduce to you Mark Quinn, who has been travelling around New Zealand for 4 months with challenging councils. I'll let him explain to you what he hopes to help all of the public of New Zealand do with their councils.
Okay, so earlier this year I founded Challenging Councils after listening to many people who over the years have been fighting councils and getting nowhere. So I've sat down and looked at what's happened New Zealand wide over that time, and that is that we talk. And we're good at talking, but not so good at doing anything. So what we've created in Challenging Councils is a process, a marketing tool, an education tool, whatever you want to call it. But it's really to learn that on your own you're going nowhere. You're blowing into a nor'wester, you're wasting your time. And you know that by your frustration. In looking at the problem, we then realised that we have to turn around and start working more clever as a team. We are just people that realise we have to build New Zealand up to actually beat the council. Councils, as we all know, are fraudulent in one way or another. They're insolvent one way or another, and what we need to do is teach the people to stand up and work together. So if you take a simple town, and I won't mention any, but if you just take a town and you've got 5 little wee towns in that rate-paying area, you then have a situation where you can bring those 5 teams together, create their own and their own identity, then bring them together, and then join all the rest of the New Zealanders that are also doing it. And that's what we've achieved thus far. We now got all these teams around New Zealand, and there's a few hundred plus. And at the end of the day, what they're doing is finding fraud in their council, finding issues to challenge the council, finding that the forensic audit needs to be done and they won't do it. So when people won't do things, they need to hide things. And because they won't do a forensic audit with the public, we then know that there's some problems in there and that we need to go find those problems. We had found issues where a hospital, like for example, is missing 90 million. We found places where a council's missing a similar amount. And what we do now is investigate that. And we find we're getting blocked at every step. But at the end of the day, we still get through. And we release some of that information. The problem is the council. Council's problem is the government. The government's problem is ours. So each way we look at it, we have to stand up and do something. Otherwise, you roll over and die as you're doing now. In the background, we have found one of our lovely legal secretaries has uncovered a whole heap of information, and we have 70 pages of corporate companies with no shareholder. Don't stand around going, yeah, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Go and do it and prove me wrong, because you ain't going to prove me wrong. You're going to get off your chuff after that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Gun ownership requires knowledge in safe handling. UNN Field Messenger Amy covers essential safety protocols to ensure a secure shooting experience.
Field Messenger Amy, reporting for UNN from RTSP in Randolph, New Jersey. RTSP is a gun range, and it stands for Right to Self-Protect. Yes, guns can be lethal, but so can every household ingredient. For instance, your normal bleach and ammonia. I could get shot with a gun and survive, but if I'm in a room and I mix these 2 ingredients together, I'm most definitely going to die. So let's go inside and learn some gun safety. So safety begins the moment that you enter the range. You do not take your gun out until you enter your port. And before you can even enter the ports, you need to put on your eyes and ears. So these are your safety protection. And I even have headphones for secondary extra protection. So let's go in the range now and learn some more safety. So now Tommy is going to give us some range safety information.
My name is Tommy. I'm the Chief Marshal for the building and one of the lead instructors here, and I'll be going over some safety stuff today. Welcome to RTSP. So here we have a couple of rules, right? Number 1, we always keep the gun pointed down range even when it's unloaded. Number 2, we keep our finger off the trigger till we're actually aiming at the target. And last, when the firearm is on the table, we would like to slide back and the magazine out. I don't care if there's rounds in the mag, but it shouldn't be in the firearm. What we need to see is just open. So we like to have the ejection port pointing up. When it's like this, we can't see as much coming down, so we like to have that sitting up. Then we find out the right-handed or left-handed, and I tell them, you make a gun. My right-handed shooters, you're going to make a gun with your right hand. You're going to pick this up, finger high up on the slide, away from the trigger. This is a dovetail or a backtrack. We choke up tight all the way. This part of your palm and this part of your hand are going to touch. You're going to take this line right here. Everything above this line is going to move whenever we pull a trigger. So we need it here on the slide and not on the frame and not on the slide. Last, you're right-handed, so your right thumb goes over. This is our proper hold to have on the firearm. Then we would pick up a magazine when it's got round, go here and push it till it locks. Put your finger right on this button right here, push it to the floor. That's a slide release. Push down, the gun would now be loaded. Go ahead and hold it the way we discussed, aim and fire. When it's empty, it's going to lock back all by itself, saying, you look, I'm out of bullets. Until this happens, consider the firearm loaded. In other words, if you pull a trigger and nothing happens, there's some type of malfunction. Set the firearm on the table and call one of the guys in a red vest and we'll come in and we'll help you with that. All right? So the firearm fired. Slide lock back out. The gun is now empty. I'm done shooting. Before I put it back on the table, I want to take the magazine out. That's this button here behind the trigger. Put your thumb and try to push it out the other side of the pistol, and that's going to drop our magazine. Then we'll lay our firearm down, same way as we discussed, and put the mag down.
So now we're to our guns. This is my .22 revolver. It is a Smith & Wesson 617 with a 4-inch barrel. All done. It opens up by itself. Take out the magazine. Now let's see how we did. So this is the target I shot at. These are what the holes of a .22 make. They're much smaller than these for the 9mm. So before I go, I just want to share some final thoughts with you. Is that when you're using anything that can be harmful, read the directions, follow the directions, and above all, be safe. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. Thanks for watching. Bye.
In a world dominated by subscription-based services, from streaming platforms to meal kits, consumers are frequently caught in a web of unclear terms and frustrating cancellation processes. That's where the Federal Trade Commission's click-to-cancel rule comes in, a proposal designed to give consumers more control and ensure businesses play fair.
The subscription model is booming, but not without consequences. According to a survey by C&R Research, the average consumer spends more than $200 monthly on subscription services, often unaware of many recurring charges. A big part of the problem is some companies deliberately make it hard or confusing to cancel. The Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, is hoping to change that with their new click-to-cancel rule. This proposal is all about making cancellations as easy as signing up, and it could be a game changer for people who are tired of jumping through hoops to stop services they no longer want or need.
Well, if you're like me, I wonder if you've ever been caught up in a situation where you subscribed to something, but then when you didn't need it or want it anymore, you couldn't cancel, you couldn't find a telephone call, or you got stuck on a website screen after screen trying to cancel it. The Federal Trade Commission says it receives thousands of complaints from consumers every year in the same situation. They have a subscription that they can't cancel, or they tried to cancel it and the monthly charges continued even after they tried to quit that subscription. Well, they have a solution. The Federal Trade Commission has a proposed click-to-cancel that'll make it easier for you to get out of those pesky, plaguing monthly charges that you don't want anymore.
The rule targets what's known as negative option features, where a company treats your silence or inaction, like not canceling a subscription, as your agreement to keep the service and continue being charged. These features are everywhere. Book of the month clubs charge if you don't decline an offer. Bottled water deliveries keep coming until you cancel. Streaming services auto-renew unless you opt out. And free trials switch to full-price plans if you don't cancel in time. While these setups can be convenient, they're often designed to trap you into paying for something you should probably cancel. The click-to-cancel rule lays out clear requirements for businesses offering negative option features. First, they can't mislead consumers about important details, like the cost or purpose of a service. Second, they must clearly disclose all of the key terms before collecting any payment information. Third, they need to get the customer's explicit and informed consent through something like a separate checkbox before charging for a subscription. Finally, the rule mandates a click-to-cancel system, hence the name, meaning cancellation has to be as simple as signing up, using the same method. For example, if you signed up online, you should be able to cancel online without dealing with a chatbot or customer service rep. This is great news for consumers. But for the businesses that rely on those sneaky subscriptions, not so much. Some are even suing the FTC, claiming they're overstepping their authority. Of course, the groups pushing back on this rule are exactly who you'd expect. Big players who make money off online subscriptions that are easy to sign up for, but hard to cancel. These associations represent companies like Comcast, Charter, Disney, Google, Netflix, Amazon, and even the NFL.
In mid-October, the FTC adopted a final rule that says companies must make it at least as easy to cancel subscriptions and memberships as it was to sign up for them. But the Interactive Advertising Bureau and 2 other industry groups are suing to block this rule, saying that the FTC is overstepping its authority and that the rule wasn't supported by evidence. But why does an advertising group care? Well, it seems like the rule touches on 2 things that some of their ad tech members really don't like: giving transparency and actual choice to consumers. IAB has been saying that providing customers with clear disclosure and making it easy to cancel would somehow discourage subscriptions. But their publisher members don't seem to agree. Defending coercion as a business model helps to defend IAB's biggest members, the ones who benefit most from the lack of oversight and regulation in the ad tech industry. Meanwhile, the lawsuit comes amid recent Supreme Court decisions that are chipping away at the authority of regulators.
This isn't the first time the FTC has gone toe-to-toe with large corporations challenging their marketing and sales techniques. Last year, the FTC sued Amazon, claiming they tricked customers into signing up for Amazon Prime without clear consent. According to the FTC, Amazon made it tough to skip the Prime sign-up by hiding the no Prime option. And once people signed up, canceling was just as hard. Users had to go through multiple pages of offers before they could cancel. They also claim Amazon didn't properly explain the terms and failed to get users informed consent before charging them. That case is still in court.
Assuming the FTC can overcome its current legal challenges with click to cancel, companies will have until mid-April to follow the new rules for easier consent and cancellation. If businesses violate the rule, they could face significant penalties. The rule grants the FTC authority to fine up to $51,744 for each violation.
In eastern Uganda, regular power outages can leave communities without power for extended periods of time. UNN Field Messenger Diane shares her experience of a recent outage that lasted for more than 36 hours.
Good afternoon, this is Diane from United Network News. Today I am in the field in Jinja and we are filming a transformer. I have Manuel with me from the UMIMI company. It's an electricity company. Manuel, can you tell me what happened here today?
The transformer got faulty.
So we had a faulty transformer. And how important is this transformer to this community?
That's the reason why you are here, because you don't have power. So that's how important it is.
It is very important. Well, we certainly do appreciate you. What work has had to be done?
We are just done on a replacement, because yours was taken to Kampala for repair.
Oh, I see. So you've done a replacement transformer.
Temporary replacement.
Temporary, yes.
Mm.
So when the one from Kampala comes back, you will need to replace it again.
Yes.
Yay.
So this is temporary supply.
Temporary supply. Well, we are very grateful that you've come out to supply us temporarily, because I'm sure the people in this community rely on your services.
Including you.
Including myself, indeed. I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate your workmen, and we hope to see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And on this particular day, it has been 36 hours since I had charged any phones, computers. So I was off into the street to find out what was going on and where I could get some charge from. Here we can see the workers working on the temporary transformer that has gone in. I was very interested to see the strap-on climbing boots that enabled this worker to climb up this wooden pole so he could commence his work. Down at the local cafe, they allowed me to sit for many hours, and I was quite happy to do so with refreshments. So very grateful that we have services available to the community in such times of need. By 3:05 in this afternoon, the electricity has been restored. After 30-some hours with no electricity, I can tell you I am delighted that it is back. Thank you, Yumimi, for restoring electricity temporarily in this region. This is Diane, Eastern Uganda. Thank you for watching.
Vacation days are our little lifelines, essential for keeping stress at bay and recharging our batteries. In our fast-paced world, taking time off is important for maintaining mental well-being and achieving work-life balance. Plus, when we step away from the daily hustle, we gain new perspectives and return with a refreshed sense of purpose.
Vacation policies vary significantly around the world, resulting in different amounts of time off for employees in different countries. Most Europeans enjoy at least 4 weeks of vacation and make full use of it, often taking it all at once, a sharp contrast to the United States, which has no federal requirements for paid leave, leading to fewer vacation days for many workers. According to a study done by Resume.io, out of 197 countries, the U.S. has the second lowest number of paid vacation days. Typically, most U.S. employers give 11 days of paid vacation per year, and this can increase the longer you stay with the company. Some base this on years worked, while others look at hours worked.
Every Australian is pretty much getting ready to go on vacation for like the next month, and as an American it's still mind-blowing to me because we get about 11 days of paid vacation per year. I've covered a video about this before, but after 5 years of service it increases to only 15 days, and after 10 years you get an awesome 17 days, but I have something to add to this. I haven't worked in the US in over 7 years, and I remember telling somebody that I'm pretty sure I remember cashing out my vacation days because I didn't use them, and it's only 11 days, and they're like, that can't be right. But today I saw the statistic that said only half of Americans, less than half of Americans, 48%, use all of their vacation days, which are 11 days. Average vacation days in Australia are 5 to 6 weeks, by the way. I'm gearing up to take a week off, and that's like less than any of my coworkers, and I was honestly kind of pressured into taking the week off for mental health. But yeah, work culture here is just so different. Feels odd not feeling guilty taking the week off.
Many workers skip taking all of their vacation days because they feel too busy or don't want to fall behind, while others save them for emergencies. However, there are numerous benefits to taking a vacation, whether it's a week-long trip or just a few days off at home. Recent studies link time away from work with reduced stress and significant physical benefits, including a lower risk of heart disease. The University of Pittsburgh's Mind-Body Center found vacations lead to an increase in positive emotions and a decrease in depression. Research shows families taking vacations find moments to reconnect, nurturing bonds that everyday routines might overlook. People often return with better sleep quality, fewer physical complaints, and improved moods, sustaining these benefits weeks after coming back to work. Also, regular time off lowers the risk of burnout, helping employees stay creative and productive.
My name is Dr. Erin Engel. I'm a clinical psychologist within Columbia's Department of Psychiatry. It's really important that people take vacation. What we don't realize is that stress accumulates over time, and it becomes difficult to manage the most routine tasks and challenges. Vacation basically means a break from our day-to-day routines. For example, doing something like, say, going to the art museum or catching a movie, or even something that's more restorative like a massage. If you live in the city, making sure you get to a local park could be a wonderful way to get outside, to expand awareness, to leave our thoughts at work, giving yourself the permission to just be. And that's something that we rarely take the time to do. It doesn't have to be expensive, but ultimately the benefits are that we feel restored, we feel better able to come back to our day-to-day with a more creative outlook and mindset.
If you don't have the budget for an out-of-town vacation, even a single day off can offer a refreshing mental escape. A daycation or staycation may be just what you need to recharge and rejuvenate without spending a fortune. A daycation is a day trip or excursion to a nearby location, typically within driving distance. A staycation involves staying at home or in your local area for leisure purposes instead of traveling elsewhere. For a single day off, hotel day passes are gaining popularity as a cost-effective alternative for vacations and travel. There are even apps that specialize in helping you find great deals in your area. A hotel day pass gives you access to a hotel's amenities like the pool, gym, and spa without staying overnight. It also offers convenience, as there's no need to pack and unpack between travels. It's perfect if you want a short place to relax during a layover or day trip, or if you just need a change of scenery.
There are several reasons why opting for a day rate might be a game changer. If you have a long layover, want to escape the airport hustle, need a quiet workspace for the day, or simply desire a bit of pampering, a day rate can provide a cost-effective solution. Day rates are often more budget-friendly than booking an overnight stay. They offer a cost-effective way to enjoy the perks of a high-end hotel without the higher price tag. It's an excellent option for those who want a taste of luxury without breaking the bank. It's also perfect for families between an early port disembarkation and a late flight. The kids can nap, eat, or splash in a pool for less than what a cruise line would charge for a city tour and transit to the airport. Now that's worth checking into. Now let's explore other times that it might be the perfect time to use a day pass or a day rate. For those of you who are working remotely or freelancing, sometimes a change of scenery is all you need to boost productivity. Booking a day pass at a hotel with a quiet and comfortable workspace can be a game changer. You get the added benefit of a serene environment, high-speed Wi-Fi, and perhaps a cup of coffee from the hotel's cafe to keep you fueled. Everyone deserves a break, right? If you find yourself in need of a mini vacation without the hassle of planning a trip, a day pass is the solution. Enjoy the luxury amenities like the pool, spa, and lounging areas. It's a fantastic way to unwind and treat yourself to a day of relaxation without having to book a room for the night, and without having to ask your boss for another week off.
Stepping away from work and daily stress can have long-lasting benefits for both your physical and mental well-being. A little time off can help you relax, recharge, and come back to your routine with renewed energy and focus. Taking a break might be one of the best investments you can make in your health and happiness.
At UNN, you are the news. Get involved by joining our weekly Field Messenger meetings. Visit unitednetwork.earth to learn more. Remember, if it's going to be, it's up to me.